As we saw yesterday, the four different layers in the Spring Boot architecture. The first layer being presentation layer, second layer being business layer, and third layer is persistence, and last is database, which should be secure, and it is made as secure as possible by enveloping these three layers. Okay, so presentation layer is like your view, which talks to the front-end application or other application. Business layer, where we write business logic, validation, and everything that is required to satisfy the business requirement. Okay. Then persistence layer talks to database, retrieves data, and communicates that data information to the business layer so that we do calculations with that data and send back the data or anything that is required to be done. Okay. The same thing is depicted in a different kind of pictorial representation here. Like you understand this image, this will clarify almost all things regarding the different kinds of classes that we write and everything. Okay. A client application sends an HTTP request. Okay. Either you call HTTP request or REST and RESTful request, everything is same. REST is a kind of, I forgot the full form of REST. REST stands for REST API full form. See, representational state transfer application programming interface. It is like it is the protocol kind of thing. As we use HTTP protocol, in the same way, we use this REST API protocol to transform or to call another application from one application. Front end is an application and back end is an application. To communicate between front end and back end, we use REST API. And also to send data from one application to another, we use REST API protocol, an area. Okay, so this is what is REST is. So when a request is made from client application, whatever that faces that request, wherever endpoints API endpoints are defined, that class is called as controller class. Okay, and where our business logic is written, that particular class is called as service class. And our model is kind of what, a data object. Okay, it is not the model of our MVC design pattern. It is a separate thing. Model is kind of data object, and repository is what that actually talks to database. Okay, so repository is a kind of interface and also a concrete class which implements that interface to give the implementation of that. So we'll see in detail. So controller class is responsible for handling incoming HTTP request. As I told, it is annotated with either @controller or @REST-controller. This is what you have to know about controller class. If you see in any Spring Boot project, HelloWorld controller, book controller, means it becomes the face of our application, which faces the front-end application, which and also handles the incoming HTTP requests, and it contains different methods that is defined to handle different HTTP requests and sending back the HTTP responses. Okay, they handle input validation and delegate business logic to services and handle the generation of appropriate HTTP responses. It is a kind of it is a main method in our normal core Java application. It receives the input from the user and delegates actual business logic to some other classes and processes the request and gets back the result from those business logic classes and generates the response as as per the calculations that has been made. Okay, then we have something called as service classes. Service classes contain the business logic of the application. Okay, they are annotated with at service annotation to indicate that they hold the business logic and are often used or in combination with auto-wired annotation to inject dependency. I thought of covering this auto-wired today, but I will not overburden because this itself is taking you some time to understand. So we will see it in tomorrow's session. Okay. So at auto-wired annotation is used to automate the dependency injection. Even we do not, it is not required to write constructors or something like that, as we did yesterday for creating the object of or getting the dependency of book repository in our book controller class, if you remember. Instead, we will just annotate it with at auto-wired. It will generate the object whenever it is required. The Spring Boot will generate the object. The service interact with the service classes that we write will interact with repositories, means repository classes that we write to fetch and persist data, perform calculations, and implement business rules. Okay. This is what controller and service classes do. Any doubts? Any questions? No doubts? Okay. Assume no doubts. Then we have repository class. Yesterday we did not write service class because it was just storing in memory data structure. But when we do store data in other class in other projects, a big projects where we have to differ the concern of business logic and data logic, then we have to write service classes where we define the services for a particular data, particular business requirement. Okay. Then we have repository classes. These repository classes are responsible for data access, either retrieval or storage. Okay. Then it provides an abstraction over underlying database or data source. They typically use some ORMs, which like Hibernate or JPA to interact with database. Okay. They do not use a normal, normally we as a developers nowadays, we do not use SQL statements. Instead, we use this ORMs, okay, object relational mapping, like Hibernate. Okay. If you go for Python, you have something called as Django ORMs. Okay. We use ORMs. We do not write any SQL query, select star from, we do not write it. We just tell that save, find all. All those things which are used to be done using SQL statements are done using these methods which are exposed to us by these ORMs. Okay. And repositories are annotated with at repository annotation to tell that this is a repository, and they often extend interfaces like JPA repository or CRUD repository. If time permits, we will see how to extend these things and use these ORMs. Okay. They define methods for common data operations like save, find, update, delete, and can also support custom query methods. Okay. Then we have entity class. You have a table that defines an entity. For example, you have student table, that is student is an entity. How do you represent that in a class? You have table and you have columns, right? ID becomes in a student table, ID becomes a column, your student name becomes a column, your student's age becomes a column. In the same way, we create a class to represent that table in the database. Okay. In here, all these things will become what? You can take a guess. Student ID, student age, student name. Hello? Did you get me?
Can you repeat, sir?
Okay. Entity class. Did you understand what is entity class?
I have to say, not exactly, sir.
Okay. Please concentrate. Otherwise, you are wasting time, I am wasting time. Okay. Entity class is a class that represents a table exactly in Java. Okay. In suppose you have a table like student, and what does a table contain? It contains columns with the attribute name, column attributes like student ID, student name, student age, like that. How do you represent that particular those columns in this class? What
Instance
are all
variables.
the instance variables? That's it. Okay, so you create such classes to tell that this represents that table. Those classes are called as entity classes and are annotated with at entity annotation. Okay, they tell that these are all the this class is for the or it represents a table with these columns as attributes, which are created as instance variables. Okay, then we have we can write some class like configuration class to configure the third party services. Like if you are using MySQL, you have to configure that. So you use configuration class and you annotate it with at configuration classes, and those methods are annotated with at bean annotation. Okay, then you have a data transfer object. This you need not annotate with anything, as we did not annotate anything for book class yesterday, right? We had a book class. It is considered as a data transfer object. These data transfer objects are used to transfer data between one layers of application to another layers of application. Clear?
Yes.
Clear about controller, service, repository, entity, configuration, and data transfer object. Any doubts, any questions?
No, sir, not at present.
Okay.
Sir, I have one query.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
In repository, sir, like you mentioned, like ORM, it will take care of all the SQL queries. But
Mhm.
how about the if we are connecting one table to other table and for foreign key everything, how it will take care? Do we need to write any external code for that or dependency injection anything?
It will take care of minimal CRUD repository, means it will expose those things. But if you want to write your own custom queries, right? They support even that also, right? I told that. You can write custom query methods also.
Okay.
To do minimal CRUD operation, it will take care of everything. You need not write anything. Okay, you just call those methods. If you want to do those things, suppose outer join, inner join, even there might be some methods, but then even then you can write those custom query methods. Okay.
Okay. And one more, that bean annotation. Oh, what is the purpose of that? Why we are using that?
That bean annotation tells that this method is also a part of Spring Boot. Okay.
Okay.
Nowadays,
you.
we do not use this at component, at bean. These were used in Spring MVC, in core Spring Spring MVC projects to tell that this method, if you want to annotate only one method, then you tell in a whole class you want to annotate only one method. In older versions of Spring, we used to use at bean configuration. Nowadays, we do not use at bean at component much, but this is for annotating or telling that this is also a component of this Spring or Spring Boot. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Any questions? Anybody? This I covered because you should not get confused when I create more and more packages. Like I created a controller package, I created a repository package yesterday. You got confused. I just wanted to clear that out first before we move ahead and create more and more packages like services packages and create more classes and create entity classes so that we talk to database like that. Any questions, any doubts? Controller mainly handles the HTTP request and sends back the response. Service classes will handle the business logic. Repository classes handles the data logic. Entity classes represents the table in the Java code. Configuration classes is used to configure the third-party resources. Then DTO classes or data transfer object classes are used to transfer objects from one layer of these service controller or repository. Between these layers, we use DTO to transfer data from one layer to another. Any questions, any doubts? Everybody clear?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I'll just repeat whatever we did a last couple of days, how to create Spring Boot project. So go to start.spring.io website, select Maven as build tool. Let me do that. So start.spring.io, go to this website. You get this website, select Maven as the build tool, select Java as the language, and select one of the versions of Spring Boot, which is not a snapshot. Then give group ID and artifact ID, like com.example.uttara. Okay, demo Spring. Okay, like this, you give group ID and artifact ID. Then you select packaging as jar. Then you select the version of Java. Better you select the latest version. If you are using Spring 3, select 17 and above. If you are using Spring 2, select Java 8 and above. I'll select the latest version. Then come back here, add dependency. Only one dependency you need now is web. Spring Web, add that and you tell generate. Okay, this generates and downloads a zip file. Okay, so you go here. You put this particular zip file into some folder, like I'm putting it here in D drive Spring Starter. Then extract this. I'm extracting this I'm going faster because we have repeated it again and again. I'm extracting this. If you do not know or do not understand, stop me. Okay. Now we have to import this, okay, into our Eclipse. So I'll open up Eclipse, go to File, I'll close everything. So here we have some five projects, but you will see one more project coming up. So how to import that project that we have generated using start.spring.io website? Open up Eclipse, select any workspace, open that, and go to File, import it, selecting or clicking on Import. This particular dialog box will open up, and you will see Maven. You search for Maven, you will see somewhat here like this, but you search for Maven, you get like this, and select existing Maven projects. Okay, and click on Next. Now you have to browse here. So browse that particular folder that you have generated and extracted. Where is it? It is somewhere. SpringBoot starter and demo Spring. This is what we generated and extracted, and I tell select folder, and you get the pom.xml, and that should be selected. Okay, then you have this, then you tell finish. You see importing Maven project is coming up here like this. It will import everything. If you are importing for the first time, it takes time, else it will finish up fast. Okay, so demo Spring is imported here. Now you have to create, or you have to create the first API endpoint. How do we do that? In this first project, in this first package, you select this and tell new. Okay, new class. So I will create one more project. Not project, sorry, package, hello controller. Hello controller. Okay, and name I will give it as hello controller. Okay, then I don't need anything. I tell finish. Okay, this creates a hello controller package. Inside that, a hello controller Java. What is the job of controller? To handle HTTP request and delegate the business logic to a particular business logic service class, and according to that result, send back the response. Okay, in this hello controller, we will receive an, or we will provide or expose an API endpoint for /hello and return back the response as hello world. Okay, how to do that? We will just tell, we have to tell this is a controller, especially this is a REST controller. Okay, this handles the RESTful API endpoints, this class. So I annotate this with at REST controller. Okay, and I will organize import Control-Shift-O. This will import Spring REST controller from this particular package, org.springframework.web.bind.annotation.rest controller. This tells that this class is a REST controller and can handle HTTP request that is sent from another application, either a front-end application or a tester application or another server-side application. Whatever it could be, if it calls this particular URL with this particular URL, this process should happen. This is what we are going to tell in this REST controller or controller class. So How do we expose that API? For that, we have to use another annotation like at get mapping. Get mapping tells that this particular URL is mapped for get call. We have many different kinds of methods of HTTP requests. We have get method, we have post method, we have put method, we have delete, we have update. Like this, we have, I think, some 7 or 8 methods are there. So for get method, we use at get mapping annotation to tell that for get call, this URL should be mapped. Okay. What is that URL? I tell that in this parenthesis and tell this should be the URL for get mapping. Okay. And I expose the method or define the method, tell that public. We have to return a string. Hello greetings. Okay. And receive what? Receive nothing. Okay. I do this and I tell return hello world. Okay. And we have to import this. I tell Control Shift O from the same package annotation get mapping. Okay. Any doubts? Any questions here?
No, sir.
Everybody, if you understand this one particular thing, working of this one particular thing, one simple Hello World program, you can code any other get mappings from now. Any doubts, any questions? No questions, right? So how to run this? So I'll close all these things.
So one question. In the same class, I can have one add get mapping method and one add post mapping method, and I can use the data from the post mapping method in this get mapping method.
You can use it.
Okay, sir.
But there is a method of sending data from one method to another method. Either you have a static variable or something like that. You can use. This is just Java code. You can do whatever you can do with we used to do with our normal core Java code.
Okay. Cool, sir.
With some more annotations and those things, right?
Okay, sir.
Okay. So now we have to run this. From where to run this? For that, this is the starting point to run this, where our main method is defined. So with the same name with which you created your SpringBoot application or SpringBoot project like demo Spring, this was the group ID that we gave. Okay. With the same name attached with application, you have one class and there your main method will be present. Okay. You will never write main method from your side. This main method is the starting point and tells that this is the Spring Boot application. Okay. And it tells you it will run your Spring Boot. How it will run? It will do component scan. It will bring together all the components that is there, that is present. And be careful that these things belong to same package hierarchy. Okay. Don't change this. It should belong to same package hierarchy. And it will take care of every other thing. So we have to just run this particular class. So I come here and I right click here and I tell run as Java application. Okay. You see the server is started. Tomcat started on port 8080 and started demo Spring application in this many seconds. So this is how you start or you run this application. But how to test, how to check whether this thing is returning a proper result, or this API endpoint is exposed. Either for get call you can use browser directly, but for post call you cannot use browser, because browser can do only get calls. Okay, on the search bar you cannot do post call on browser, because it is designed like that. You cannot do post call on browser search bar, you can do only get call. To do post call we use Talend API as we used it yesterday. Okay, so for even get call also we will use Talend API itself. Okay, so I go here and Talend API tester, and I tell my localhost 8080 is running, and for I'll get, it is not a post call, it is a get call. I'll change it and I will send. You see, hello world, we are getting hello world as the response. Any doubts, any questions here?
No, sir.
Everybody is clear with this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Shall I continue, or will you try this much and we will continue tomorrow?
Sir, I would like to try what we've done so far and try tomorrow, sir.
Yeah, if this much is very much clear to everybody, I would like you people to try it out first. It gives you an idea. Tomorrow we will write the same kind of code to have a post call, okay? To handle a post call. Or shall I do it now? Anything that you suggest?
Sir, I want 1 day time, sir. I'll
Okay.
be happy with it.
Everybody else agree with this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Or you want to try out post call also? Okay. So we'll not burden ourselves. So you try this. I will upload this video also. You try this out, and I will also produce that document. Means I have already done that. How to create project. I'll just share my screen. I'll explain that also once. So I have listed every step that you have to do for creating Spring Boot project using start.spring.io website, and how to import that particular project to your Eclipse IDE. Then how to write the first Hello World mapping, Hello World API in your Eclipse. Okay, I will send this document also. You follow this, try it out. Tomorrow we will write the post call. Okay. Any questions?
So one question: how many different methods are there, like get, post,
Get,
and
put, delete, post. We'll Google it. Different methods of, sorry, what is that? API, different types of API calls. REST. Okay. It is not types, it is methods. Methods of REST API. Not this. You see, post, get, put, delete. Here are some. I do not want some. I want all. HTTP methods.
So using only post and get, you can accomplish
Yeah.
everything. No, so why do you want all the other things?
Put is used to put only one data. Post is used for posting the full form data. Okay. Delete is used to delete one data. Patch, I do not remember. And you have status codes. You have to know all these things. Okay. Subsequently. not
So sorry
immediate.
for interrupting, but I'm a little confused. I'll tell you what I understood. You tell me where I'm wrong.
Hmm.
Now let's say that I have a front end and I want to this book management portal or something, and I want to add a book. So I click on in front end, I click on the post button, and it will send to the backend or the details of the book, and then I extract the details and store it in the database using the SpringBoot application.
Okay.
And now let's say I add some 5 books, and now I want to delete a book. I'll again send a post call with the deleted books details, and then the SpringBoot will do some business logic and delete that book in the database. So why do you want the delete method and all those things? I don't understand it.
Delete method will tell that this is used for delete.
Oh, but theoretically speaking, we can do anything which is post and get.
Yeah, we can do.
Okay, sir, got it. Okay.
Okay, cool. So I'll send the list of those methods also. Like add something here also. Generally, we use just put, post, like that, delete. We 4 methods are we use only to get and post normally, and mostly delete 3. Put also we do not use, and patch everything. Here only we had, right, in talent tester we have list here. We have post, put, delete, head, options, patch. Okay, I do not know what options head and patch do, so I will just do, or I will just study about it and tell you. Okay.
Okay, sir, cool.
Okay, cool. Anything else? Okay, so then I will send the document, try it out. Tomorrow we'll see how to do post call and try to connect with the database and all everything. Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, sir.
Bye.